Let me start off with asking all of you, and let me start with you, sir, to quickly just tell us about your business, what is your role, what's your point of view of the marketplace, and anything which you'd like to share from a environment standpoint or the business environment standpoint today in Kerala and globally as you serve the customers.
Yeah, I'm heading IT for Muthoot Microfinance now. It's actually recently only I joined with this company. And earlier I was with the Joyaligas group, and before that I was with Manorama also. It's actually for my recent journeys in this IT area. As you all very much aware about, it's actually we all people, it's actually all these brands already migrated to cloud. I'm not talking about cloud now. It's on a business perspective, and how we have to migrate to the next level. For an SME. It is very important to how to migrate. It's actually he already mentioned about the innovation. Okay, how the innovation can be converted to a business. Okay, and then how your people are. It's actually how the every company need not to be required to set up an IT in every environment. It's actually our business focus should be on making profit. That is what he already mentioned about here. Okay, that is what the same thing only I also need to emphasize here. That is what our IT is an inevitable part. That's correct. But actually, how easily we can manage it. That is what the point. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Paul. Really appreciate it. Same question to you, Mr. Varghese. You run a bank, right? And I would argue, banks have gone through the digital transformation the fastest in the last few years. So would you like to just share with us as to what your experience and journey has been in digital transformation?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the question. Let me introduce myself. I am John Varghese. I head IT and digital banking for Dhanlaxmi Bank. And unlike my friend Linson, I've been in the bank for 17 years. And earlier I was with Federal Bank, and I worked with 2-3 companies earlier also. So my experience with Dhanlaxmi Bank has been quite, lengthy. So to answer to your question, if you look at, I'm sure that, all of you will deal with one or the other bank. And the digital transformation, and you talked about the compliance. So the regulatory compliance, I don't think, any other industry will have stringent or maybe, cybersecurity guidelines, a framework for cybersecurity guidelines. What is the role of a CIO? What is the role of a CISO? And I don't think, a regulator has prescribed in any of the other industries. If there are anything, insurance also for that matter, something is there. But banks, it's very, very, very clear. And I was just talking earlier that, the Reserve Bank of India does not penalize banks also. They penalize personally also if we don't comply with the guidelines. Having said that, all of you will definitely agree. You all interact with the banks. And most of the technology innovations which has happened in the banks have helped all of you. And the COVID times was, definitely, if we don't do, what will happen if a bank doesn't do innovation? What will you do normally? Similar like a question and answer session. If a bank does not give you, say, UPI, I'm just giving, what will you do? You'll move away from that bank, I'm sure. Nobody will, I was just talking earlier also, and the sort of loyalty we had is not there. So banks doesn't have a choice. We'll have to give, and the service is 24/7. We cannot shut down our application at any point of time. You do a Amazon, I'm just taking an Amazon fund transfer at, maybe if you want to pay from your bank, it should work at midnight, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever it is. UPI also same thing. So the banks had a lot of challenges at the same time. At the same time, the banks have all geared up. And on a cloud part, since, this session is on the cloud, we have certain limitations on holding certain our applications in cloud. We cannot host our core banking right now in cloud. We don't have a clear regulations on that. Maybe, I'm sure that, my personal view is that cloud is going to stay, and all of us have to move to cloud at some point of time. We have only, maybe selected applications on cloud as of now. So the banks have transformed well and has taken, more because, it's regulated, more because, when UPI comes, we don't have a choice. We'll have to implement. Whatever be the cost, the banks doesn't have, look at ROI factor and all, and then implement. We'll have to go ahead with this. And 24/7 service, be it internet, mobile, UPI, any application for that matter, and the MIS, the statements you require, everything. The banks have geared up for that. I'm sure that Indian banking industry has been it's a highly regulated country as well, right? I mean, if you look at the other bubbles which has happened in the other countries, it's not affected because Reserve Bank of India has been very strict. I mean, so similarly, there are cyber security guidelines, the controls which we have to build up also are very strict, and the banks have lived up to that expectation is what I think.
Right, and also very innovative, right? Recently, I was hearing this whole buzz around a lot of countries wanting to look at the UPI infrastructure and the design for their own payment banking. And I'll tell you, my family is in US, right? And I do spend about 3 months a year there. I'm shocked. There are still shops in US on a place like Newport Beach, which is a huge, tourist destination, where they will only accept cash.
Even pan shops, that, even coconut, that curricuala, even they will accept they have. I mean, so it has changed. I mean, if you look at the transactions, it's jumbling. I mean, it's exponential. Growth is exponential. I mean, we need to have the proper infrastructure. As I said, if it doesn't work 24/7, I'm sure that you will move away from that bank. I mean, we are aware of this. Actually, all the bankers are aware of it.
And, look at this. This is what I call as transformation. Here is the leader from a bank who's saying that I need to be competitive. I need to service you better. I need to be available 24/7. Imagine, the traditional banker was that stiff upper lip, guy sitting on you kind of wait for them. That's the change. That's the change enabled by whom? By you, by your customers. Right? And that's what we got to embrace. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your opening comments. Mr. Joseph, we'd love to know about your business, but also, tell us about your learnings on digital transformation across your organization and also your greater ecosystem, because you are providing a lot of services to global organizations. You're doing really, really cutting edge work in that area. So anything you can share with the audience here?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Prince Joseph. I am the Group CIO of Nest Group. So the flagship company that we have is SFO Technologies. That's electronics manufacturing setup. Now, coming in third, they have already taken all the points, but I can speak with respect to what is my thought process and philosophy around why does the IT function exist now and what's changed over the last few years. Because to me, we are there to offer some service to the organization which helps them meet its targets. So the organization wants to, if it's about growing customers, if it's customer experience, if it's about revenue targets, if it's about cost reduction, there is a role that IT has got to play. In the past, you would say that, IT, your job is there, some servers there is some desktops there, support. But that has changed. Even in SME world, from an enterprise perspective, even in an SME world, that has changed completely. So right now, the impact that IT can make across functions is huge, because you can see right now, I think even from your own perspective or your own experience, the kind of discussions that you're getting into was not discussions that you had in the past. Right now, even customers want to have IT present there. You have to represent what is the digital initiatives that's actually happening. Where all are we making an impact? If you look at the way a finance team is working, if you look at the way your HR team is working, your supply chain team is working, you can see with your digital lens, they all need help. We need to enable them to work in a digitized manner, and there's a lot of things that we can offer them right away. But it also means that IT now needs to understand what they do better. Previously, we didn't need to care so much, but now we do, because it's connected. And all of this has an impact in the bottom line. In today's post-COVID era, in manufacturing, I think everybody reads about this, there is this huge disruption in the market with respect to components not being available. If components are not available, you don't really get to manufacture everything that you want. If I'm supposed to manufacture 500 products out of a factory, and if these 500 products need 15,000 parts to come in, and if one part doesn't come in, it's going to affect one set of delivery for me. So imagine the kind of exponential impact that we have to deal with. Now, this is going to happen, and that is the world that we are in. It is not new, it was there in the past as well. So with these demand changes and these market conditions, how do you actually help the business still achieve its targets? That's where IT comes in, because you are now able to offer them solutions that gives them visibility, gives them the data, gives them analytics. Because the person who is a buyer sitting at the end of the procurement chain, he now can say, I need to release this order because I've seen the demand rising. He is also in a position to say, I need to cancel some order because this demand is gone. And it goes on every aspect of the way. So every function, there's a huge impact that IT can bring. So where we have strength and power is, an IT department cannot have all these capabilities themselves. You need to have a very strong partner ecosystem. And that is where we have, in the presence of some of these partners, AWS being one of them. To me, I just give an acronym that in AWS, A stands for agility. Because what we want to try and do is, in the past, if you want to make a change in your IT, purchase order, wait for like 6-8 weeks, implement another 2 months, and by the time you actually make it live, you're looking at 4 to 5 months. But now, with support like this, you're actually able to get this done in, they will claim a certain time, but in days.
Sure.
Right? So that's what I want to start off with.
No, thank you so much. Really kind. And that's very important, right? Mr. Joseph has been one of the biggest proponent of cloud in this local market. He's been a user. He's been, a proponent of that. And more and more manufacturing companies. And remember, if we are doing 40% of India's GDP is coming from small medium business, 50% of that is manufacturing. 50% of that is services. So when you look at manufacturing, and you may be part of the value chain or you may be doing the full product, more and more manufacturing companies are using agility, as he said, of cloud to be able to innovate at a faster pace, to be able to deliver products and services at a faster pace. And the fundamental value of that is data. Like, Mr. Ambani famously said, and everybody now has said after he said that data is new oil, right? So when you say data is new oil, what is data? Data essentially is that you have an information on which you can act upon, right? Do you have that information at the right place, at the right time, at the right moment you want to, so that you can make a decision? Imagine as a business leader, if you had the data about your procurement cycle, about your manufacturing cycle, what else can you do with it? So that's the real value. Let me go to Mr. Paul. So as a business leader, when you think about technology, what's your priority? Which part of business you think need digitization? And I would argue that every part of business needs digitization, but what are the core parts of business which absolutely need digitization? Without that, we will always fall behind.
It's a customer front. You all people are experienced with the customer, how we can handle with the customer, and how the billing will be happening, or how we can automate it. This all part of the business, correct? It's actually the core business will be coming from there. How we can manage it very easily, okay? That is what the cloud adoption will be coming up there. It's actually, for example, from my experience, it's actually one of my company already adopted the cloud for OTT platform that you all very much aware about. It's actually how the things is happening. It's actually now from Netflix till all the things, everybody is using the cloud platform, okay? The streaming will be using different microservices. For example, like an IT person, for a developer, it will be very important, or the team, the IT team. Okay, so this all happening through the cloud, and it is very efficient, and how we can manage it very easily. That is what the main point here. And the second one, I have experienced like, for example, like a retail jeweler. It is a Akshaya Tritiya, for example, how we can manage. In a single day, the most business is happening on a single day. How we can increase the compute power? It's a big question actually, For example, like in a single day, that much customers are coming into your doorstep, and how we can manage it. It's really for an IT, it is a headache, correct? It's how we can manage it. We can increase the compute for that particular window from day 7 o'clock to till night, or even the next day. We can increase the compute and we can reduce it. And the billing is only for that portion, correct? So actually it is on the metering will be happening on that will be the best attraction here, okay? And come to the financial business, okay? That is really, the customer is very much, is actually we are into microfinance, okay? The people who are living in the rural area, and it's actually the connectivity is very much important. So it is all mobile, and the payment will be on UPI mode, and so it is on the moment we need to complete all the transactions. That is also happening only through mobile computing, and also it is connected through the cloud using an internet connection. That is actually everybody having a mobile or a digital device to connect through the net. Okay, it's very as simple as that. It's actually currently now the globe came to a very in a very small piece. Like it's actually it can be connected with a small device into the cloud. It's actually we can do any type of business. Okay, that is what the attraction.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Mr. Varghese, how do you perceive cloud as a technology enabler? What do you think on the benefits and opportunities of using cloud? And you could really go beyond banking also. The point really is that as a technology leader in this market, and I know you're part of the CIO club and you do a lot of work within the peer group, but what kind of trends are you seeing and something which you would like to really share with the audience?
Yeah. So the cloud is going to stay. I mean, as Mr. Linston rightly pointed out, and our Prince also pointed out that, getting any device. I mean, I've just placed an order for a router. I mean, the lead time is 6 weeks. A simple router for a branch, 6 weeks for getting that. So the similar is the case with any workloads which you want to port. If you want to have like in a jewelry where you want to increase the resources for a particular moment of time, the cloud is the only option. I mean, otherwise you cannot do it. But at the same time, and I'm a little skeptical on, I mean, you will have to evaluate very carefully. I mean, I have attended one workshop on how to evaluate, cloud. Then only I understood that, you should evaluate cloud very, I mean, goes without saying.
Yes.
Right? I mean, Linson knows it because he uses multiple clouds. I mean, so the difference between different clouds. So depend on, again, business. And cloud is going to stay. Banking right now doesn't have core banking, but selectively we are doing. And Reserve Bank is going to, as I understand that Reserve Bank is going to come out with a guidelines on how, because we are highly regulated, we cannot go beyond that. From other business, all of you have already moved. I think Prince has moved, you have moved. I mean, why should I, say that it cannot be? I mean, it's the need of the hour. Basically, because 3 points I will, put. TAT is a major thing, in any business. If you have to give a facility to your consumer, the consumer wants it as on yesterday, not today even, right? Can you do it in a normal infra where you'll build up the infra, you purchase the infra, you have the people capability for managing that. I mean, now, there are different layers of operating system, different layers, different applications comes in different layers. You need, and skill set is, very scarce now. I mean, if you have to get somebody for Solaris, it's very difficult. I mean, if an application runs on that. I mean, so all this is very important. So from a TAT point, turnaround time point, I think the cloud is a solution, and the cloud will give an application give an opportunity for you to deploy an application within maybe a minimum time of 7 days or 8 days, as you think. The second is the service, the management which we'll have to do on the infra. I mean, see, as a bank, we are spending a lot of money on managed services. Different companies do manage, because if the application has to be up on 24/7, everything has to be monitored 24/7. We don't have a choice. Database has to be monitored. Storage has to be monitored. Each operating system has to be monitored. We don't have a choice. So similarly, they will have all that, the managed services in place, and so the management would be very easy. So these are the two main points. And other things, the cost I'm talking about, these are the 2 points, TAT, if you have to give a facility to your customers in no time, this is the only option. Second is, from a management perspective, whether it's managed services, purchases, vendor management, all this will, slowly shift from you, because you can run your business more effectively and efficiently than, managing your own on-prem, infrastructure or applications. That's my view.
Thank you, sir. So Prince, as a follow-up to that particular question, what has been your experience in really the cloud economics, in the sense that one of the biggest value which cloud provides you is that you pay as you go. It's a OpEx model, which means that it's not, you don't have to buy infrastructure, it's not CapEx, you don't have to invest in that asset. You can actually use the AWS asset and pay for what you use. So what's your insight or infrastructure or something which you'd like to share with your experience on whole cloud economics?
So I'm glad that Mr. John also was talking about that, and that is actually touching on my agility statement of earlier. On the cloud economics part, I think everybody knows that the first reason we looked at the cloud maybe a decade back was because it's not CapEx, it's OpEx. Secondly, we looked at cloud because it's infrastructure as a service, meaning that we can keep turning it on, and like Linson also said, that elasticity is an advantage. But now, where I see and where I'm excited by some value that I'm seeing, and this is just me sharing my personal experience, is from the IaaS or infrastructure as a service, they have moved on to software as a service. They're providing software. They're providing platform as a service. And to me, the platform as a service is a game changer. Because if I'm going to do, and we spoke about data in the beginning, and everybody needs that data to be available somewhere, and that work on that whole data layer is only possible if you have a full stack of data set, data management tools. So I need data for data to be collected from somewhere, data collection tool. I need ETL tools. I need refresh tools. I need replication tools. I need CDC tools. I need data warehouse. I need, I don't know what more, visualization tools. Now, all of this, in a normal way, if you were to do it, you would be buying. You'd be buying all of these tools yourself, and that will cost you a bomb. And you need people to have expertise in all of these separate sets of tools to manage it. And then it needs to come together and integrate well. Because you could be buying an ETL from someone else, you could be buying CDC from someone else, and you could be buying visualization from somewhere else. And how do you guarantee it all works together? So the effort and the responsibility on the team to actually get it right was humongous. But now, the thing is, with past offerings from cloud providers like AWS, and this is something that I've leveraged, you get the entire stack. You put your data in S3 bucket. You got your Redshift to do certain things. You got DMS doing the replication. You got your visualization layer. They've got their own product out there called ClearSight that actually lets you create your own dashboards. So the entire stack comes in with me just subscribing to something. And with a correctly engaged partner, I don't need to invest in people and talent. I just need to be able to manage this whole show. That means now I've got a layer of data which can be used for analytics by the entire organization. So it comes back to the purpose of why I'm there in the organization. I want to help my organization so that they can make good decisions. I want to help the people who are working with every employee there so they're able to work in a smarter way because now they know what they need to act on. So this is one of the benefits that I see. And
Thank you so much. What are the trends you are seeing? If I'm a small medium business, right, where do I start from? How do I start? What do I think? Like you said, customer as a starting point, right? But is there any other trend which you're seeing? Because, and I'm really starting with you, is because you have such an extensive experience for both retail and microfinance and OTT platform, and all of that we are seeing so much customer adoption. But what is a sort of a cloud trend you are seeing, given the fact that you've worked with AWS for long and other cloud systems?
It's from actually the company perspective or from the customer perspective?
From the industry perspective.
Industry perspective.
Industry perspective,
okay, good.
Yeah.
So actually two angles are here, okay. He already mentioned about the cost, okay. First of all, I will tell you it's actually AWS has reduced, but Microsoft is not reducing. That is another problem, okay. We all people are facing that issue also, okay. Sorry. Because it's actually, anyway, all people will be very much used to Microsoft product. That is why I'm not promoting another company here. But the reality is that is another issue we all people are facing. That is why I am just mentioning that. Anyway, I'm coming to the question here. How we can manage a business? That is the main problem here. Okay. So actually, for a business, we need to have an IT setup. Okay. Automatically, we will come to that. And then how everybody will be having an interest to adopt to cloud. Okay, how it will be, how you can experience, and how it's actually the metering, how it will be happening. Okay, there is a free tier. Okay, and then like Cloud9 or whatever, it's actually a lot of facilities are available in all clouds. Free instances are available, and we can try it, we can check it out, and how it will be, how it is. You can experience your own. I hope that's actually he will be having a good, the analytics about how many people are logging us. It's actually their own credit card. These people are everybody studying by paying their own. That is what the trend we are seeing now. Okay, come to the industry perspective. It's actually the industry stands on the people who works behind. Okay, so automatically focusing on IT. Then how we can adopt to a cloud, and also the importance of a cloud. It's actually for setting up a data center or setting up a server room or a communication. How many things you come into your picture? Connectivity is a problem. Firewall is a problem. The internet browsing is a problem. A lot of things will come. Okay, and then how you can manage it? In a single shot, you will get all these things. That is a major attraction here. And so our headache will be, can be reduced. The IT management will be very easy. And then you will think about MBLs. A lot of things will come up. It's actually wherever the business will be growing up now, it's actually our thought process will be also, everybody will be, it's actually we are thinking about a lot of other things. Okay. So it will be complicated and complicated and complicated. Then compliance will be a problem. The people will come and say, okay, where is the license? Then another issue. Okay. So here it's a single bundle. That is a attraction, but you have to be very careful about. That is the main point here. Meter will be there. Whenever you want, then only you have to on, otherwise you off. Okay, that is a major point here. Otherwise, you have to pay money. It's actually pay as you go. Like pay, the usage is important. It's actually that you have to be very critical about when you can use. Whenever you want, you can own. That's actually for the development environment or in the production environment. After night, it's actually your shop will be closed. Your server can be also down. No problem. What is the issue here? Otherwise, your AC will be on there. Your people need to be follow up the issue, and then everybody. It's actually our IT team will follow up every issue, and your owner will be calling up every time, and then it's all issues are there. Okay, it can be reduced. It's actually the data center is not at all required. It's actually for my current company or in my previous company there is no data center. Okay, but we are doing more than 20,000 crore business. That is what the model. Okay. So I'm really convinced about. I'm not supporting any cloud platform here. I'm using 4 cloud platforms. Okay, I'm using AWS. I'm using GCP. I'm using Oracle. I'm using the other one also. Okay, so Microsoft Azure also. Okay, so as a technology, it is very much important to how we can migrate to a platform like a flexible platform. Okay. Whatever brand you have to choose, that is your choice. Okay, that you can evaluate. How the metering will be happening and what are the flexibilities. The instances can be on a free model. It is available for everybody. The region may be different, that's all. It's actually, you may not be getting it in South India. You may be getting in Bahrain or in somewhere else like Japan or Russia. Like that, you will get an instance as a free model. Okay, for even, I hope it is actually for a 12 months free model is available. Or even a development environment can be set up. The MSDN network can be configured on it's actually free model. That is also available. Development platforms are very much cost effective, and that also can be you can adopt it because now it's actually there is backup may not be there. That is the only problem there. But you can that's a clever model that you have to utilize. That is what I'm telling you. It's actually clouds are good, but how intelligently you are approaching to that cloud platforms or utilizing the cloud thing for billing purpose. The usage is very important. Most of the partners, they will be charging on, it's actually 20% or 30% or 10%, that kind of a model for actual consumption. That you have to be very careful about that model. That's all. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And I just want to take 3 points from what he just said. Number 1, you can start on any cloud platform or any cloud service of AWS virtually free. So, the cost of entry is not prohibitive. The second is that we've committed in India that we will train 5 million Indians on cloud and AWS technology. Free. Okay? Now, go to our website, find out the programs, enroll in them, understand that. Then we have launched what is called as SME Vidyalaya. SME Vidyalaya is a business course It's not a technology course. There is nothing like, compute, storage, networking. You will not have those terms in that content. It's again available online. It's for business owners. It's for you to understand what cloud can do for you, to understand how you can embrace cloud technologies, how you can really innovate using cloud. So we have 4 modules. By end of next year, we'll have 50 modules. So we'll have SME Vidyalaya for manufacturing, SME Vidyalaya for manufacturing marketing, SME Vidyalaya for retail, SME Vidyalaya for steel, right? So we are going to have modules there in simple business language. We want to really communicate and tell you how you can leverage cloud. How do you start? What's the first thing you do, second thing you do, third thing you do? So please take advantage of that. And entire SMB Vidyalaya content is for you, and it is free, right? We're not going to charge anything. That's an investment we are making in the country. We want to make in India because we believe in the potential of this country. So we just want to make sure that you take advantage of that. Because as earlier also alluded, bar none, the single biggest issue in any tech deployment is people. How do you get trained people to come and run that infrastructure for you? And not just that, once you've got those people, how do you continue to retrain them? How do you continue to make sure that they are keeping pace with all the innovation which is happening? It's hard. It's hard for us. It's hard for us. We are not able to hire the number of people we want to hire. I'm just being open with you. It is not easy, right? And it's a business problem. It's not a technology problem. It's not a product problem. It's a business problem. In retail, it's hard to get people who can actually explain and sell the product. In banking, it is hard to get people to really sit at the teller counters and communicate with the customer or take calls on the cell phone. In manufacturing, it's hard to get smart people who can run manufacturing line day in and day out at the level of efficiency which we want. It's a people issue. But you know what? We alluded to that, right? That's our advantage. That's our demographic advantage. So what's different? Difference is skills. If we can provide the skills, so therefore we are making these investments in terms of skilling technically, that's our Takshila program, and then skilling business-wise, that's called as SMB Vidyalaya program. And I absolutely want all of you to think about taking advantage of these programs from skilling and awareness perspective. What is it for you is important. But let me come back to you, sir. From an industry and trend perspective, and especially given the fact that you work with a lot of your peers and you interact with them, what's your guidance in terms of what are the trends you are seeing from cloud adoption and cloud ownership perspective?
I think Linson has already explained on, how to adopt cloud. I'll not be able to tell you, how to adopt, but I can tell you a business case, which we can take, which is having a less impact on, if you take it out from your normal system and experiment in the cloud. That would be the first one. I would go with HR. HR is a standalone application. It will not affect anyone, so that you can try it out. And the cloud adoption, as AWS is already doing. I would like to tell you, we are not in AWS cloud, but today even my three of my different level system guy, then the database guy are actually attending their training. So that's the. We will also slowly move. I'm looking at what is the application which should move. Core banking anyway not. Anything which does not have a customer impact would be the first to move. So I feel that all the industries, especially for SMEs, you don't have to think twice. I would agree with you on one thing. Getting people, the skilled people, is very, very difficult. If you put up an advertisement, especially for system management, that's what I was talking about. You will not get. I'm telling you, you will not get. Not only our bank, I have been interacting with CEOs of other banks. It's very difficult to get people who are having skilled resources in particular. Because in banks, we don't have a choice on, some of the operating systems or, whatever it is. Because some of the applications comes with, do we have a choice of changing Oracle database? We don't have a choice of changing Oracle database because all the core banking runs with Oracle database. So we need to have people having expertise in Oracle. We cannot have any other open source database. So these challenges are there. So SMEs, I think you have a great opportunity in experimenting it and then slowly building, because going forward, I mean, there is a problem with the generation also. I don't know. I'm not blaming them. They are more intellect, but they don't do multitasking. I am good at I don't know whether you have felt that. I am good at database administration. I will do only that. I will not look at even if I know. I mean, so challenges are more. People challenges are tremendous in banks also, because see, tech people doesn't like to work in banks because their maybe career progression is only aligned with the normal banking progressions. So getting people is very difficult. So I think my experience says that you can definitely, I mean, SMEs can definitely look at trying out cloud if you have not already. And you can experiment, as Linson told. There are a lot of I would because recently I have attended one course, not course actually, one seminar on how to choose a cloud. I did not use it, but it was quite inciting for me. They were talking about how do you evaluate a cloud player? How do you do it? I mean, there are online courses available. You can do that, and you should do that. And I think there is a lot of slowly. Government, most of the government applications runs on cloud. Vaccine,
Yeah.
COVID, Covishield, everything. What is the name of that? COVID, yeah.
COVID app.
COVID runs on cloud, right? So bigger application. I mean, I think you have. That would be the biggest. If you look at the customer base, that would be the biggest customer base. I mean, everyone in India is a customer in that. So I think there is no reason why we should, shy away from cloud. And SMEs have a choice, but you should be very careful, as Linson told, choosing the cloud and choosing your business case. I mean, it again depends on your business. May not be a very critical application, should be tried in the cloud first. Maybe an application which you can take, which I mean, it's again on a business impact. If you do a business impact analysis, you do a business impact analysis and come back with, what is the best application which can be moved. And for cloud, I think the sky is very clear.
It's not cloudy.
Yeah, it's not cloudy. Sky is very clear. People will have to, and banks also will have to. And most of the banks, some of the banks have already done. We have also selectively done. Okay, software as a service, but we'll also be doing. And all the banks have started doing it. And RBI is going to come up with a clear direction on this from a bank's perspective. But for SMEs, the regulations are, the compliance are comparatively low. You can take a chance of doing whatever you want. I think all the best. For you to move to cloud. That's what I want to say.
So same question to you, Prince, as well, and especially, you are very familiar with manufacturing piece of it. So how would you really advise the audience in terms of starting the cloud journey, and what are things to really think about?
I don't know if there's anything left to be said. The thing is, I get inspired by looking at the phone that I carry, because whenever you talk about cloud, trust me, this is just a device in your hand. But everything it does, it does from the cloud. So if you want to have that level of agility, user-friendliness, user experience to be brought to the enterprise, we need to be looking at how do we actually get it there. So that is only possible if we start using vehicles that helps you achieve that. So we all talk about a lot of modernization, because things reach end of life. And that's the point when you start looking at what do I do over this infrastructure? Do I go and buy a new server because this one has become end of life, and buy new storage, or do I have the option to just secure this from a cloud service provider? Because it's going to give you performance, it's going to give you elasticity, it's going to give you a lot of benefits. When I look at even applications that's going to go to end of life and go into this life cycle stage, there's also a possibility now, because you may be able to get a similar application which is a software as a service. And like Mr. John just said, we also hosted one of the first applications we moved to the cloud was HRMS. Very painless one, less impact, but of course it is touching people, and for every employee who wants to use it from wherever he is, he's got access to it. And so the life cycle management of pretty much infrastructure, application, other software elements that you do, those are triggers that will help you to make that decision. And probably the last segment that I'll just add on is, we are at a point where we can't think of ourselves in isolation. I need to be connected to my customer through some medium, maybe portal, maybe connectivity, maybe API, similarly with my suppliers. And that is not possible with infrastructure that is going to be sitting here. So that needs us to leverage some other services. Again, that is pointing to, well, look at the cloud, because you will be able to find these tools and elements that you can leverage right away instead of building it from ground up. So quite a lot of benefits. I don't think that we're going to be all cloud. I think when you look at every industry, look at your use case, your context. But the presence of how much you're going to start leveraging the cloud, I only see it going up. You will have a hybrid environment, but the way you're going to leverage the cloud for your own benefit, you will find that this is a one-way street. It is going in one direction only.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So those were the questions to the panelists, but I want you to take advantage to learn from their experience. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer for all of us. It could be a specific AWS question I would try to answer, and if I can't, I'll figure out a way to get that answer to you. Or all the experience which we have. If you think about it, there's over 100 man years of experience sitting here on technology, so take advantage of that. And if you have any questions, we'll open it.